I thought I'd take a minute here to talk about my mini camelback, uh, and some of the things that I intend to do to it in the very near future. I'll be doing a few videos on it. Uh, so, a little history on this drill. I bought this drill several years ago, and I saw it on Craigslist, and I just fell in love with the little thing. You know, it's just the cutest little camelback, and you know, I can't handle large machine tools. In order for me to have it, I basically have to be able to get it into a pickup truck bed in order to move it. So this is my little drill, and she came painted up like this, and not exactly the color I would have chosen. I would have went with a dark gray, probably, or even black, as these likely were originally painted. But it's in good. It was in good shape. It hasn't been fucked with too much, like a lot of these little drills have. A lot of times, guys will take these flat belt pulleys off, and at some point in the past, and they've tried to convert it over to a V-belt drive. And a lot of times, you'll see a motor mounted here, just like this one is right now, and it's you know, and it's running V-belt. It's so. That's no good. It's a classic machine. It's made to run flat belt, and it should be running flat belt. Now, it's missing the shifting forks, and this is just a little rod I put in here. It just wasn't, it's not quite the right size. I need a little bit longer rod, but it basically had a rod that bent around, it looped in here so that it would stay straight, and then you had two forks mounted here to guide the belt from the idler pulley to the tight pulley. And I'd like to bring that feature back. You know, this motor I slapped on here, and this was actually one of the first things I did when I got my lathe, is try and make that pulley. And it's just never worked quite right, you know. I was never able to get the belt to track properly on this pulley. You know, and I'd tried recrowning it and everything, and I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what the issue is. Maybe somebody that's a little more knowledgeable about belts and pulleys, and because there is a science to it, can inform me of what I've done wrong. But yeah, I've done everything to try and get this pulley to work properly, and to get the belt to track right on it. So I've concluded, because this was only a temporary measure to begin with, I've concluded it's just time to go ahead and take that pulley off there and make a new one. And my intent here is to take this, and I want to make a longer pulley that will span the width of these two pulleys, the tight and loose pulleys. It's going to have a step on each end, like a spool, so the belt will work properly, hopefully. We'll see how this goes. And I'm going to rebuild the shifting forks so that I can actually use that to turn the drill press on and off without turning the motor on and off. Is that necessary? No. But I think that it's, you know, kind of neat having this old line shaft machine, and I'd like to be able to, you know, show people, and yeah, this is how they did it back in the old days, you know. That was your switch. It's remarkably well built piece of machinery. The base, the column, the head, it's all one single casting. And this is the Canedy Otto Manufacturing Company, number 28. And there's actually a PDF online of the catalog in which they sold these drills. So I was able to get, you know, all of the all of the specs on them. It says that your input shaft here should be run at 600 RPM, which is about right for, you know, a little small hole drill like this. Yeah, it's just a nice machine, and it just needs a little bit of attention in order to get it back up and running properly again. I want to polish this out just to make it look pretty, and polish the handle, this stop bar here. I've done a little bit of polishing on the column there, and it would be really nice. I don't have a mill. It would be really nice if I could get somebody with a mill or just a big old honking lathe that they can clamp this table on a mandrel in the lathe. That would probably be the most ideal way to do this, and then come across and face this table off just to true it up. Got a few little drill divots in it, but really nothing major. I've seen a lot worse. This is a far cry from the Arc of Shame, as many like to call it. This hole was already here. I went ahead and just tapped it and put a bolt in there, just in case I needed a hold down, to use a hold down, so that's what that's for. I must say I am tempted to drill another one and have a have a partner for this over here on the other side, but I just can't. I can't bring myself to drill holes in a drill press table that weren't already there. So, especially on a nice old machine like this. The spindle has about 20 thousandths of run out. If you, I don't know if you can hear that, but you can hear it rock back and forth. It's not really a major issue on a drill because I put the indicator on this and just, you know, spun it, and we're running within about 1/1000th of an inch, and I put a Morris taper reamer in here. This drill takes a number 1 Morris if you've got one, unless it's been modified, of course. But with the Morris in there, it went down to about 1/2,000th run out, indicating off of this surface here. So that's good. The drill spins accurately. We've just got some bearing wear here, and I'm debating whether or not to try and re-pour that bearing. It's kind of a difficult one to do because it's a spindle bearing. It's unfortunate on these drills that there is no provision, you know, like you see on a lot of them. You'll see a take-up nut here so that you can tighten the bearing. However, you know, in a drill press, if it spins straight, you're going straight down. You know, if you've center punched and everything properly and got set up for your hole, it's going to drill a straight hole. So I'm thinking I will likely just leave this bearing alone for the foreseeable future. Because if I choose to re-pour that bearing, it's going to fuck the paint over. Because you got to heat this up with a torch and melt the old bearing out. And if I'm going to do that, then I have to do this one. And if I'm going to do this one, I might as well do the rest of the damn bearings too. So yeah, it's a future project. But yeah, just lots of little things. You know, when I first got this drill, it had been quote unquote restored, and the person who restored it, which is a very loose use of the term, they painted things like the table. They painted the lower table here. They painted the column black. They painted the spindle and the pulleys black. You know, this shaft had paint on it, and yeah, it drives me nuts when, you know, somebody gets, you know, a little bit too happy with the paintbrush there and paints a bunch of shit that they don't need to paint. You know, painting the shafts and things on a machine like this, you know. Those are the kind of guys that paint over your door locks, and you've got to take the door lock apart and rebuild the damn thing in order to get it to work, clean all the paint out. Anyhow, yeah, I thought I'd just take a minute to show this and talk in a little bit more detail about, you know, a few of the things I intend to do. I'd like to get some drip oilers and install them in the top here. There's a couple of these little side oilers down here on the counter shaft. I really don't like those that much, and if I get 2 drip oilers for the top bearings, what I may do is get a couple more drip oilers and put them on a couple of elbows and have them down here as well. Could use maybe a drip oiler here too. I don't know. I don't think I would put one there. It's just a little bit overkill. It's a little half-horse motor that's on here. I've got another motor that I may put on here that will look better with this machine. It's only a 1/3 horse instead of a 1/2 horse that this is. But you know, it's not this ain't a big major drill press here, so you know, a 1/3 horse will probably do okay. And the reason I want to use that motor and that 1/3 horse motor instead is it's an older motor. It's just a better looking motor. It's got the oil cups on it, which, you know, being in this position here will make it really easy to get to those oil cups. Oh, sorry, I got my magnets and stuff stuck to the side of my locker here. Actually, not my locker, all my lockers. I got these from a pool that was getting knocked down, so they're great shop storage, I must say. I like the fact that everything on them is lockable. But that's an issue for another video. We'll talk a little bit about shop security from a man who's been twice robbed. Anyhow, I hope you enjoy, you know, taking a look at this thing. And stay tuned. I'll try and document a lot of the little fixes and tune-ups and things that I do to this drill to get it back up and running. Have a nice day.